Hi there guys, and thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel and watching this clip. The lighting is a bit funky in the room today, sort of mid-afternoon and doing this thing, and it's December, so it's an interesting kind of light, but I'm going to go with it anyway because sometimes when you get the urge to record something, you just have to do it. And I haven't got my fancy lights, so we'll make do with this. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Just wanted a very quick chat about expectations, really. You know, the pressure we put on ourselves, and, you know, how that can manifest itself, and sort of the pros and the cons. And obviously I would say, you know, on the positive side, you need to keep pushing forward. You know, nobody really wants to stay in the same place. You know, if you're one of those drummers that is quite happy where they are and you don't want to move forward, then that's great, isn't it? You know, you've reached a level and you're happy, and that must be wonderful. But certainly for me and the majority of people that I either teach or musicians that I know, obviously not only drummers, you know, they want to keep moving forward. And that's the positive thing of, you know, watching more YouTube clips, seeing live bands, seeing your friends progress, you know, and people that you don't know that, you know, are progressing, and you think, I want a bit of that action, what they're doing, you know, wow, that's the drummer or musician I want to be. And that's great, you know, we need this, so we keep striving forward. I always talk about artists that I love, like David Bowie and Miles Davis and Prince, that kept moving forward. You know, they weren't happy just to sit on their laurels. They wanted to move forward, even if sometimes the albums or the tour idea or whatever it was, the live show idea, didn't always pan out like all the critics and people would like, but at least they kept moving forward. So for me, if it was, you know, Prince, it's like Purple Rain, which everyone loves, against an album like the Rainbow Children, which probably most people don't know the Rainbow Children, but they'll know Purple Rain and go, love that album, it was amazing. And the movie, it was a moment in the 80s, it was like, yay. I know all the hits off it, Let's Go Crazy, When Doves Cry, blah, blah, blah. Whereas, you know, Rainbow Children was probably more of a muso album. It was probably saying other stuff that was a bit deeper, but not as well known. And as I say, you could do that with any of the artists that you like, probably, that are moving forward. So having this positive, you know, push moving forward is a really, really good thing, and we need it. And I think it's a question of how we cultivate that and how we look after that is quite important. You know, and the negative side, I know a lot of my drumming friends, you know, who get a little bit kind of depressed and get a bit run down and a bit heavy on themselves that they're not doing better and they should be somewhere else and all this kind of thing. And, you know, it's always very hard to watch and to listen to. But at the same time, as a human being, we totally get what they're saying. But of course, there's loads of other things that come into play, like, you know, for any musician, if they've got a family and, you know, their work life, it's hard to find the time to practice. So sometimes you have to just say, okay, I'd love to be that drummer that I love so much, but their journey was different to mine, and I could be inspired and I can work towards it in the way that I can with the hours that I've got and the time that I've got and so on. You know, that's it's kind of a, not what you do when you're sat in traffic in a car cursing that you're not practicing enough or something, but it's a kind of headspace that I think, and I've been suggesting to my students and friends, you know, drummers or not, that feel this way, because the grass is always greener. They look at me and say, oh, look at what you've done or what you're doing. And it's like, yeah, but, you know, you're not me and I'm not you. And I've had different breaks and other losses in my life and other things that have come up and held me back that, you know, I don't talk about, and other things that have pushed me forward. A little bit of luck along the way with the practice that always helps. Those two coming together is a good thing. So it's almost like, you know, not settling, but just being like enjoying where you're at. You know, so for some of my drumming friends, I've said, yeah, but you're sending me, you know, your band's latest demo or a clip of your band playing live, and I'm watching it without all the stuff that you're telling me in my head, because you're you and I'm not. But I'm actually really enjoying what I'm watching and what I'm listening to. And the guy or woman in the pub listening is enjoying it too. Obviously, they don't know the emotional baggage and stuff that we've got going on in our heads. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you're doing a fantastic job in what you're doing at that time. And people are enjoying it and soaking it in. I think it's Art Blakey. There was a quote I read the other day that I'm going to get wrong now, but he said something like, my job is to make the people that come along to see me in the audience, and he'd say it to all the jazz messengers, it's our job to make them feel good. And if we don't make them feel good because we're up there moping about stuff, then we're not doing our job. And it's kind of like, bang on, Art, man, that's where it's at. So as I say, this is kind of about not being afraid to stop and think, okay, I've got all this list of YouTube clips of drummers that I love, and I'm nowhere near this, and I've got the same, But I'm finding ways to kind of temper that and deal with that, and make it something that I can use as a positive thing, and look at the reality of the situation and the time that I've got and the drummer I want to be in, and how I can move that and maneuver that to happen in the direction I want it to go. So, don't be afraid to take the time to sit back and think, yes, there's all this I want to do, but look where I've got to now, look where I am, and look how I'm playing right now. And look at the audiences that come along and see me when I play, regardless of style, regardless of whether you're playing in stadiums, or little pubs or youth clubs or wherever you're playing, or at school or whatever. It really doesn't matter. You're doing the job, you're doing something that brings joy to a lot of people. And yes, as I say, we keep wanting to get better, but just kind of hold on to that a little bit and just say, whoa, put the brakes on. I am working, I am doing stuff to get myself moving into a direction and feeling better, and playing better drums, if we talk about drums just for a minute, because we're drummers after all. And if you're not a drummer, welcome along anyway. Good to see other musicians here too, because we are musicians, believe it or not. So as I say, there's many facets, and this one clip, however long this is going to end up being, isn't going to sort of tie up all the loose ends. But if you're kind of watching it and some of this stuff is kind of flagged up to you, and you've gone, oh yeah, I think that, all right, and I feel that, or not, all of it is of interest. And I'm always, equally as interested to see what other drummers think. So if you want to leave some comments down below or email me and stuff like that, that's cool. I do a little bit of mentoring as well, so maybe there's things I can help you with, or just throw some ideas your way. But as a professional musician myself, for all the years that I've been doing it, if you think about it, we're all in the same ring doing the same job. And it's very easy for someone on the outside to say, yeah, well, who's better, who's best and all this. But, as we know, when we're in that ring, it doesn't really work like that. And we're all friends, and certain people are better suited for certain things, and so on and so forth. You've got the various things in your armory of drumming talents and musical talents and personality and character and all that certain people want on their project. And sometimes it's not quite the project you thought you'd end up doing, but it's like, hey, yes, my drumming does talk in this music. I didn't think it would, or with these people, and off I go. So basically, if you're ever in a bit of a funk, as they say in America, and you're feeling a bit funky about stuff, thinking, oh, my drumming, I suck, just kind of put the brakes on for a minute, take a step back. Think about how much time you're giving it. If you can give it more, do so. Or if you are doing a lot and it's still not paying off, maybe there's a teacher or another drummer friend that could help you, maybe point you in some directions. Obviously, YouTube's great, and here I am doing this on YouTube. But sometimes it's good to go, obviously, in person and see somebody. Even if you just have a few lessons or a chat or something, it can just put your mind in the right space to move forward. And as I say, I've used this with some friends. I've used these systems on myself because I've had to. God knows our ego as a musician is grandstand sometimes, and you've just got to step back a little bit and think, whoa, okay. So at the moment, I'm going through a time where I there is some more improvement I need to make on my drumming and maybe on some of my business skills and stuff. But I'm aware of that, and I'm working on it, and I'm trying to cultivate all the rest of it and make it all work together in a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. So as I say, if I'm hitting some of these points you're thinking yes, just maybe rewind, watch it again, have a little think about what I'm saying, but don't be afraid sometimes to stop. I keep saying put the brakes on, but stop and just look at where you are with your drumming, with your career, and kind of enjoy that, because remember, you're always going to be better than you were before. That's the point. So looking back to when you were thinking, oh, I wish I could do that, let's say that John Bonham triplet thing. Oh, I can do that. But of course, as humans, we want the next thing. So it's like, I want to play really fast single strokes around the toms, like, I don't know, Dennis Chambers or something. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so you get onto that, or I want to play a fat groove as loud and as heavy as Chad Smith. Great, let's get on to that. There's all these things, and that's why with my students, if any of my students are watching, I've always suggested a practice diary, whether it be online and you do it on your laptop, electronically rather, or you just write it down with a good old-fashioned pen and paper. You can always go back and think and look at the dates and stuff and see what you've done and how you've progressed. And I've showed you before on one of my clips about the manuscript that I've got just over there. There's like mounds of manuscript paper. Some of it, yes, is band stuff that I've done. They're charts for bands, but some of it is just music that I've written out, drum parts, and not stuff just for lessons, but stuff for me. There's a few kind of, I don't know what I'm going to call them yet actually, but I've written them out and I need to pull them out and I will talk about them at some point. Like little, like suppose they're drum compositions, not for exams or anything. They're just like ideas, stylistic ideas with some ad-lib bars here and there and then a phrase again, and I'm getting into that and I've got loads of that kind of stuff, and I love adding to that and using it and working it and keeping that side of my musicianship and drumming going. But it's all there and I still need to work on that. There's loads I need to do. So as I say, we're all in the same boat, but we are getting there. But just, as I say, take a little bit of time, not get lazy. As I say, it's a very fine line, but just enjoy kind of where you are. Don't put these heavy expectations on yourself because it can flip things round and all of a sudden you don't want to go to the gig. You don't want to pick up some sticks and start practicing because you've got all this heavy weight of burden of I'm not good enough. And, sometimes stepping away from YouTube and not letting each video follow on to the next, sometimes just moving away, closing the lid down, or turning your phone off and just sitting on the kit and playing and being inspired from what you've just seen is better than continually watching more and more videos that maybe make you think, oh, yeah, I'm definitely not good now, So I think I'm going to leave it there because I could rabbit on for hours about this, but it's something that I'm really concerned about, that all the musicians really come to terms with, of dealing with those expectations and keeping it a positive thing and enjoying music. There's nothing worse than if the thing you love doing becomes a thing that you dislike doing, because as I say, you do this 360 thing and all of a sudden it's like the thing that brought pleasure is now bringing you nothing but mental anguish and depression. We don't want that. So anyway, as I say, I'm going to finish it there because it's such a massive topic and it's about 12 minutes long. So I think that's about right. But it's something I'm very passionate about. So as I say, if you want to email me or leave some comments, that's great. But we're all in this thing together and it's something just to stay on top of. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you've already liked and subscribed, brilliant. If you haven't, please do so. Then I can add more stuff to my channel and keep things moving along. But it's always a pleasure to have you here. And also to please share this video if you think there's some other musicians that you think would maybe benefit from this. So have a great day, enjoy life, enjoy music, enjoy your drumming, and I shall see you soon.